we remember. You might recognize some of these guys. We're going to call up another team right now, and that is the 68-69 Randolph Wrestling Team, presented to you tonight by Mr. Bob Williams.
I would like to take just a moment in saying to you that Bob Ford, their head coach, worked with them from 1966 until obviously they graduated. And this was his team. And he would be extremely proud of the fact that they're being recognized at this time. When it came to coaching this team, I was the warm body. Bob came and asked me just before the Christmas tournament if I would help him out, which I did. Although I had done some wrestling in high school, I was not prepared for what was to come, even though I had been to pretty much every match from the time I started in 1966. Being at the edge of the mat, I really began to understand just what went into being a wrestler for the Randolph team. The hard work, the dedication exhibited by this team was amazing to witness. As an individual sport, as well as a team sport, wrestling requires a unique attitude. And I mean that very seriously. On an individual level, they are learning the skills, the drills which they love to do, to perfect those skills, and the personal control of their individual weight. Making weight that they would dual meet was essential and often difficult. Like Baxter's. Then there is the actual dual meet, at which time the boys are being asked to wrestle as individuals for 6 minutes. Try that sometime. Try moving for 6 minutes at 100%. Right? And then, as well as the personal goals to do well, they're asked to achieve success on a level for themselves as well as a team and a team win. No pressure at all. All these elements require these individuals to have character, commitment to themselves, to their team, and to a sport that they love. You will hear shortly the list of accomplishments. My friend Ray Sykes has helped me a little bit with this, and she says, all of those things you're going to say? Yes. All right? But I'd like to take a moment and share, send a revelation, from the newbie, which was me. And which really helped me in the years after as I coached. As my first experiences progressed, I began to look more carefully and be more aware of the individual wrestler's techniques. In one practice, I happened to be watching Greg Sprendy, who from the bottom position proceeded to turn, sit on his butt, and face the guy in front of him, and then proceeded to go into the drag position and scoot to the back. And I turned to Bob and I said, how's he doing it? It's unorthodox. He goes, yeah, well, he's good at it, he's fast enough, he's smart enough, and strong enough to do it. Now, if anybody technician ever looked at that and moved, what are you doing? And that all of our boys had a little bit of some of that unique quality that makes it important for them and successful for them as they work. All right? I also remember one time I was asked to fill in as a workout partner for Bill Baxter. That's why I was busting him before. Billy was a 98 pounder. I weighed about maybe 140 at the time. How far I did. We were in the bottom position. I was in the bottom position, and Billy Kevin Hayes, who was taller than me and still is, was going out on the mat against a young fellow named Bill Todd from Mars Catholic. Now, I was 24 years old. Can you believe it? I was 24 years old, and I always thought that muscles were the equivalent to strength. And this Todd fellow walks out, Bill Todd, with muscles on top of muscles. And here's my Kevin, lean and mean, so to speak. And I'm thinking, oh boy, what's going on? Well, again, I learned. Kevin went out and handled the dual meet. He then beat him again in districts. And I learned something about strength. It's not how you look, it's what you got. Kevin was that type of wrestler. And the last one, we have a lot of these little vignettes, but the last one, by the way, I did remember these after 47 years. That's pretty good. The last one I remember, which really stuck with me actually even till today, is the boys have to cut weight, and they cut weight really, really heavily sometimes. And to get to the weight, if you don't make the weight, you don't want Bob Ford looking at you, that's for sure. So, they struggle to get weight, and then they have to eat something. And in this instance, Mr. Pochi got a little ill on the mat. And I remember Bob Ford said to him, "What'd you eat?" I said, "It was a lot of sandwich." At that point, Bob and I decided it was time to talk to the boys about what they should really do after starving themselves to get weight. And it's really been something that I, personally, have been very attuned to and tried to deal with that with the fellows that came along afterwards between nutrition and proper way to lose weight. So I learned a lot, and I still remember. The boys actually coached me. They were generous with their time. They were unbelievably patient. And somehow or other we made it through, and they still don't beat me, so that's good. Before I get into the presentation of the statistics of this team, which, by the way, if you really listen, it's almost scary. I'd like to thank Kevin, Bill Hayes, and Larry McMillan. Kevin and Bill Hayes for their extensive work preparing and presenting this team for nomination to the Randolph High School Hall of Fame. And Larry McMillan might be an unsung hero who has unbelievable statistics for all the teams. It's staggering what this team has done. And I really appreciate what they did for this team and for us. Now for the statistics. The boys had an undefeated season in 1968-69 with 14 wins and 0 losses, and held 12 of their 14 opponents to single-digit team scores with 3 shutouts. There were no official state rankings at this time, but they were considered one of the best 3 teams in the state as per the North Evening News, which is now the Star Ledger. A quote from the newspaper states, Phillipsburg, Montclair, and Randolph are regarded as the top 3 teams in the state. Having coached wrestling with Randolph, we all know what Phillipsburg did, so that was pretty good. All right? They were also deemed by the Randolph Wrestling Historian the best team in Randolph High School history. The team's accomplishments in postseason were the Iron Area Conference champions and district champions. Their individual postseason honors include 7 district champions. This is tied with the most great team in Randolph wrestling history. However, in 1969, there were only 12 weight classes, as opposed to 14 weight classes in 1993, which is the team that they were tied with. There were 6 regional placers with 2 champions, Drew Barron and Greg Srenning, and 1 state champ, Greg Srenning. To put these results in perspective, which I found very interesting because I didn't realize it, in 1969, the only regional champions advanced to the states, which I didn't know. But by today's alignment, 7 wrestlers would have advanced to states, which means that the boys that didn't make it to the state championship would come in second place. On the all-county team that year, Randolph had 5 on team on the second team. And in the all-area team, Randolph had 4 on the first team and 5 on the second and third team. In terms of the history of Randolph wrestling, this particular team has the best ball or pin percentage in Randolph history at 41.7%, and registered 108 pins while surrendering only 7. Of the best individual fall percentage rate seasons in Randolph history, 2 of the top 3 are from this team. All right? When you start listening to this, it's kind of scary. I didn't realize that at the time because I was too busy trying to do a good job. Keep an eye on this video. They hold the best team point average in any team in Randolph history at 3.17. In those days, which is different than today, a pin was worth 5 points. In this particular year, there were no major decisions or technical faults awarded, which is different today with the point system. By comparison, the undefeated team of 1993 had a team point average of 2.5. The dual meet record, for all the team members was 147 wins, 18 losses, and 3 ties. Every starter won, ready for this, more than 86% of their matches, and 5 wrestlers were undefeated in dual meets that year. Their overall match record, which includes the tournaments, was 217 wins, 39 losses, and 3 ties. Of the best 50 individual Randolph career winning percentages, 6 are from the 68-69 team. This team was also part of the streak of 36 consecutive dual meet wins that stretched from 1968 to 1971. To me, it goes without saying that these honors and these statistics have certainly established the excellence of this team and the reasons why they've been given the honor of being inducted this evening into the Randolph High School Hall of Fame. And I'm proud. At this time, I'd like to bring out Kevin Hayes, who wants to say a few words.
We'd like to bring out the entire team, please, all those ranks. Come on.
Can you guys hear me okay? Good, thank you. It was the winter of 1969. The atmosphere in the gym was electric. Wrestling fans were coming from all over New Jersey and surrounding states to see us. If you didn't get to our match early, you didn't get in, but you could go with the overflow crowd into the cafeteria and watch it on closed circuit TV. As Mr. Williams said, we finished the season undefeated. Our average winning score was 44-4. Quite Quite frankly, we were crushing every single one of our opponents. We opened up the season by entering the prestigious Dover Holiday Tournament, where we put 9 wrestlers in the finals and more than doubled our nearest competitor's score. We did end the season ranked number 1 with Peaburg and Montclair. Saturday night at districts, I so distinctly remember sitting on the bench before finals, and I looked to my left and I looked to my right, and I saw nothing but white Ram fleeces. And I said to myself, oh my God, it's the Randolph Rams against the rest of Morris County. Well, we put 10 in the finals and 7 won, and all 7 placed in regions. Lou went on to take a 4th. We'll talk about another team member in a few minutes. These were very exciting times for our community. Before I introduce my teammates, I want to pass on regards and congratulations from some of the teammates who couldn't make it, and I talked to personally. Al Scherer, Lou Guerin, Bobby Graff, Kevin McKinney, and Al Regner. I'm going to introduce my teammates, but I am not, under any circumstances, going to tell you their weight classes from high school. Billy Baxis, Richard Tonda, Billy Cuff for Tommy Cuff, Bobby Poggi, Mike Rout, Jeff Serenian. Am I missing anyone? Oh, Greg? Is that his? Greg Serenian. That's great. And when you view members of this team, you see successful sons, husbands, dads, superintendents, coaches, ADs, teachers, tradesmen, businessmen, attorneys, and even a famous bug guy. When I think of my teammates, I think of them as the warriors they were, perhaps like Roman warriors. They were fearless, skilled, tough, and had superior conditioning and coaching. They took no quarter. On behalf of my teammates, we are grateful and thankful to be inducted. Our class was blessed with a lot of gifted athletes. I want to believe that based on the football team going in tonight and the wrestling team. But I also want to remind you that our cross-country team was undefeated and conference champions, led by another senior, Jack Webb, and coached by Mr. Raffer. But you don't succeed at any level on any team without the help and guidance of others. So we want to thank those who helped us achieve that success. Certainly the RHS community, administration, our parents, our teachers, and of course our coaches. Where's Mr. Williams? Where'd he go? There he is. He's not getting away. So Mr. Williams was always the soothing and calm coach we could lean on anytime. We need to go back a little further to thank Stan Woods and Mr. Derbyshire for starting the wrestling recreation program where we all got our start. Quick thank you to Brother Bill for nominating this team and for also tracking down so many football players and wrestlers. And I'd like to thank Ron Standard. I know he's been very supportive of this team for many years. And half of our starting lineup was made up of proud football players. Perhaps we didn't have the football stars on our team, but I would like to think that the lessons from Coach Bauer of hard work, toughness, execution were carried from the football field to the wrestling mat. And then there is Coach Ford, who took over in some challenging circumstances in his 20s and went on to be such an inspirational leader for so many years. Coach Ford was inducted last year and tragically has left us at an early age. But his kind and devoted wife Marilyn is here tonight, and we would like nothing more than have Coach up here with us, but maybe he is. I'm not going to repeat Coach's accolades from the Hall of Fame from last year, but instead I want to give you a quick insight to the character of this man. A couple years after Bill and I graduated from high school, Coach asked our developmentally disabled brother to be the manager of the wrestling team. And you got to realize this is back in the 70s when special education wasn't nearly as accepted as it is now. Coach and I were talking a couple years ago, and he said to me, you know, Stephen really worked out. He was focused, he was hardworking, he was dedicated. And I said, Coach, you have no idea how your bold decision was life-changing for Stephen and so positively impacted our family, especially my parents. Coach Ford and Coach Williams were in the business of making men out of boys. Next, I'd like to recognize the committee members for their time and effort. This is a big deal. This goes on for months putting this together. It was a wonderful night last night and tonight. But I want to say a special thank you for putting a chronological priority into these inductions so that we can all be here tonight in person to bathe in this recognition. A couple members of this team have passed. Richie Scher, Tommy Cuff. And Tommy's wife Alexis and her entire family is here. His sister Kathy is here. And his brother Billy Cuff is here. Billy Cuff, state champ, good friend, great ambassador for Ram Wrestling. And I'm sure a future Hall of Fame inductee. Just trying to help you connect.
What's that?
And lastly, on the thank yous, didn't get rid of it yet. Lastly, on the thank yous, a heartfelt thank you goes out to you, the family members and friends in this audience, who were either not told, you were misled, or we must be really special for you to sit through 9 inductions. It did not hurt to have the greatest wrestler in Randolph history on our team, Greg Serendi. Greg, can you give a little wave there? Great teammate and even a better man. Greg was inducted 2 years ago. Greg was a 2-time state champ, once runner-up. OW his senior year, 4-time district champ, multiple regional champ. He went on to Lehigh, where he was 3rd in the nation and an All-American. And Greg asked to give a 20-minute speech, but he will not be getting near the podium. All right? He's looking at me. One other reason for our success was due to the intense level of competition in the wrestling room. We were pushed by the so-called backups. The backups, who no doubt if they formed their own team, would have been one of the best wrestling teams in Morris County. These so-called backups went on to be district, regional, and state place winners after our magical season. And I believe that they were the ones who went on to solidify the RHS wrestling legacy. About 15 years ago, I ran into one of my competitors and a friend from Dover, and he revealed to me that when we came into their building, it felt like the Romans were invading and the Rams were about to scorch the earth. That led me to think about the last match of the season, where we wrestled a local Morris County team that was having a winning record and had 2 undefeated wrestlers, 13-0. And the Daily Record said that perhaps this team could give the Rams a few good matches. Well, we left their building with a 50-0 win. It was a great momentum builder for what we were to accomplish in the historic districts a week later. These Rams, these Warriors, did scorch the earth that night. When this team was nominated for induction, I never once ever thought about how, since I graduated, how the younger wrestlers viewed us. Until recently, where I received a host of emails and phone calls. And I'd like to end by reading one. It's from a good friend, a terrific wrestler, part of this 1974 team that was inducted. His name is Jimmy Fiscus. Where Jimmy is, I can't even see out there. It's all lights. There he is. And what Jimmy said was, this was the group that we watched when we were little. This was the team we wanted to be like. This was Randolph wrestling at its finest, and to be friends and to know so many of you guys who have been such good role models, I will be there to applaud this team. Thank you, James. And here we are some 40-odd years later, and we are still proud Warriors. Thank you.
I was one of the lousy guys on that team. I was second in the district, but I asked to be able to speak tonight because one of the greatest experiences of my life was wrestling on this team. It was true. We were warriors. We went out on the mat. We were fearless. We were feared. And it was no accident that we were as successful as we were. We were well coached. I tip my hat to Bob Fort and Mrs. Fort that's here tonight. He was very disciplined. He gave us the tools to succeed. We had raw talent. We had my brother, outstanding wrestler in the state, Kevin Hayes, spectacular wrestler, 7 district champions, and we worked hard. We worked very hard. We couldn't have worked harder. We went into that wrestling room every day. We left nothing behind. We put it all on the map, we put it all out. And beyond all that, we have the support of our community, and we have the support of each other. And when we went out there, we were brothers, we were all pulling for each other, we wrestled individually, and we wrestled as a team. Our community was behind us, our school was behind us, and our families were behind us. One of the things that I did tonight was I brought the scrapbook that my mother prepared. She didn't miss a newspaper article. Every day she got the newspaper, she cut out the articles of her sons, and she gave one to me and one to my brother. And one day my daughter, who's 6 years old, is going to look at this and say, God, I guess they were really special at what they did one day. So I'd like to thank you all for that I was on your team, and I'd like to thank the community for the support, and I'd like to thank my family as well. Thank you. Ms. Ford, could you just stand for a second so that everyone would have an opportunity to see you? '68-'69 Rams. Best of the best.